Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Steph. I am mostly a stay-at-home mom. I work part-time. I've got two little ones, and my channel is all about motherhood, raising kids. One of my favorite things to watch on YouTube is other people's recipes videos. Sorry, somebody is demanding attention. One of my favorite things to watch on YouTube is recipe videos. I love seeing other people's like suppers and meals and things like that, especially when they feed their children, because my children are super picky. So I love seeing what other people do to get their kids to eat a healthy, well-balanced meal. So I'm sharing today 3 recipes that I've made over the past week that my kids really enjoyed. Tonight we're doing roasted chicken, and I'm actually going to be roasting 2 chickens because I want leftovers for another meal that I'm going to be making, which is chicken pot pie, but I'm not going to be sharing that in this video. I got these chickens from Zares and they were on sale for $1.99 a pound. So when they're that cheap, I usually will get one or I'll get 2 or 3. So I got 2. I'm going to roast both of them tonight, and I'll show you how I do that. And then I'll show you what I'm serving alongside that. And this is just going to be really cozy winter meals for this very cold season. It is minus 26 with the wind chill out today. So a nice warm supper is just what we need. So here's the chickens. All right, so I've got them in my pan. I'm going to add some butter. I am going to leave them tied because I'm not stuffing them. And it just kind of helps keep the juices in. So I'm just gonna plop some seasonings on these, throw some butter. I am gonna put a bit of water in the pan too, because that'll make a really nice gravy to go over the chicken after. I season my chicken really simple. I'm just gonna do some garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper, and then butter. I'm just adding 2 cups of water on the bottom of the pan, and this is going to go in a 350-degree oven for about an hour and a half. I served the chicken alongside some cooked carrot coins and mashed potatoes, and this was so delicious. The gravy turned out so good, and everyone loved this meal. This next recipe is a coconut lime chicken, and I'm completely deviating from this recipe. Not like that's a surprise to any of you, but we're going to start off by zesting 1 lime. Just the lime, not your fingers. Please be careful with these microplaners. I always seem to have a really hard time. But you just want to keep moving that lime around because you do not want any of the white pith, I believe it's called, or the rind. You just want the yummy green stuff. The white stuff will be very bitter. After I did that, I chopped up some ginger. So you just need a small amount of ginger, just about 1 inch for this. And I just cut off the skin, and there is nothing better than the smell of fresh ginger. You can actually save the skin and steep it and make a ginger tea if you want. So that's what I did on this particular night. And then I went ahead and grated that as well. Are you team cilantro, give it all the love, or team cilantro, it tastes like soap? Because I took a long time to warm up to cilantro, but now that I like it, it's one of my favorite herbs to use. So I'm chopping up a bunch to add to the chicken in the crock pot, but I'm also going to chop up some extra to sprinkle on top. I'm getting all these ingredients ready ahead of time so that when it comes time to assemble, I can just throw everything into the crock pot and be done. I have really been utilizing my crock pot these last few weeks because I just find after Christmas, I do not have the energy to cook, and the crock pot has been a lifesaver. I'm gonna juice these 2 limes. I love this juicer. It is fantastic. It's so easy to clean. It's so easy to use. It gets all the juice out. And I'm also going to save those lime halves to throw in my water bottle because they still have lots of lime flavor left, and waste not, whatnot around here. As always, I'll have the original recipe link down below because I am very much deviating from it. As I said, this was not meant to be a crockpot recipe. I'm making it a crockpot recipe, so I'm using some boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I'm adding some salt and pepper. This calls for fresh garlic. I don't have any. Use what you have. I have garlic powder. And then I just went ahead and sprinkled over that lovely ginger and lime zest, and then the cilantro. And let me tell you, when this was cooking, oh, my house smelled amazing. It smelled like a tropical vacation with that lime and the coconut smell. There goes that cilantro, and then the fresh lime juice. This was just such a beautiful, bright dish that it was perfect for winter, but it also kind of gave you tropical vibes, so you felt like you were taking a beach vacation when really you weren't. This is the coconut milk. Make sure you get all that yummy fat that goes on the top. So this recipe is supposed to be made in a skillet over the stove top and comes together really quickly. I think it's titled like under 30 minutes or something, but on this night, I needed it to be quick and easy. So I just threw everything in the crock pot and it actually turned out really delicious. I ended up serving it over some rice and just some brown rice, and the sauce thickened up just a little bit. It was more of a soup, and I probably should have shredded the chicken as well, but for presentation wise, this looked better. So this was super yummy and hearty, and my kids really liked the chicken. I gave it to them separate, cut up, but they liked the flavor of it. It was a nice mild flavor, and the coconut really added some sweetness to it, but they really enjoyed it. My whole family loved it. We had lots of leftovers for the week, so win-win-win. Lastly, this is a really simple take on a lentil bolognese. And again, I completely deviated from the recipe. I'll leave the original one linked below. But I started with a skillet with some olive oil, and then I added in 1 chopped onion. And the reason that I leave my deviations from recipes in here is to show you to use what you have, that you can look at a recipe and completely modify it, but still end up with a very similar result and still a really delicious dish. So again, this called for fresh garlic. I used what I have. I have garlic powder. Some salt and pepper is going in here as well. You just want to kind of get that garlic cooked a little bit, get the smell going. And then this also calls for red wine. I don't have any, so I'm just going to use some beef broth because, again, that's what I have. To make this vegetarian, obviously use vegetable broth, or if you want to use like a non-alcoholic cooking wine or some kind of cooking wine, you can do that as well. This is really just to make the base of the sauce. And then you're also going to add in a can of tomato paste, and that's going to thicken it to start off your bolognese sauce. If you have access to fresh herbs, go ahead and add fresh herbs. It's going to enhance the flavor. I had dried basil, so that's what I'm using, as well as some dried oregano. You could just use Italian seasoning as well if you wanted that traditional Italian flavor. This recipe calls for fresh tomatoes. Again, use what you have. I had a can of tomato sauce, so I just threw that in. And use what you have. Don't feel like you need to go out and spend an exorbitant amount of money when groceries are already so expensive. If you have the means to do so, make it your own and make it with what you have. I guarantee it'll still be delicious and you won't be breaking the bank on groceries that you don't necessarily need. So this is basically the sauce. Again, this is calling for vegetable broth. I have beef broth, so that's what I'm using. And the thing I love about this recipe is it uses lentils, and red lentils specifically, because they cook a lot faster than brown or green lentils. So it's just 3/4 of a cup of red lentils, and if you go to the grocery store and look at lentils specifically, they are such a good price for how much you get and how much you actually need in a recipe. I also love this recipe because my kids will eat it. They don't seem to mind the lentils, and the longer you cook lentils, the mushier they get. So you could even throw this in a Vitamix or a blender and blend it up. Your kids wouldn't even know it's in there. So this was our supper this night. I just served it alongside some sauteed zucchini that I had in the fridge, but some Parmesan cheese. You wouldn't even know there's lentils in there, and you could even do shredded carrot or any other vegetables you want to throw in there. But those were our dinners for this week. I hope you all enjoyed and got some inspiration, and I will see you all in the next video.